This week on the show, bringing you the best from the barns. We've got a bevy of brilliant ball games in store for you. Bitter rivalry matchups. Hardware up for the grabs in the D. No less than 5 top 25 teams on display for your viewing pleasure. What time is it? Hang time. CHAMPS Hangtime is presented by Lawrence Technological University, where Blue Devils dare. Also brought to you in part by Hungry Howie's, famous for flavor. The Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics. The U.S. Army, what's your warrior? The Basketball Coaches Association of Michigan, because better coaching always matters. And the Detroit Medical Center. Do you have a sports injury, or are you just looking to take your game to the next level? Go where the pros go. Visit dmc.org/gamechangers. From inside the State Champs Sports Network studios, this is TJ Kelly. My name is Lauren Plant, and welcome to another jam-packed episode of State Champs Hangtime Michigan. Whether it's league championships or manning up for all the marbles, we are there for all of it. And we have another slate of hand-picked highlights, including a classic between Wyoming and then 5th-ranked Grand Rapids Christian. We've got another Saginaw and Saginaw-Arthur Hill rivalry contest, and much, much more. Dan Young and Matt Mowry are going to discuss the uproar that's already taken place as the girls' district pairings were announced, and what's up with seeding and MPR as the boys' districts get set to be selected. So let's not waste any more time. Begin with highlights from this year's Detroit Public School League Championship. We begin at Callahan Hall, site of the Detroit Public School League 2020 Championship. Weird week for 9th-ranked Detroit Cass Tech. A ruled ineligible player forfeit for the semis saw that overturned, and here they were, going for back-to-back city crowns up against the 17th-ranked Douglas Hurricanes. Cass Tech in white, fresh up beating CMA in the semis the night before. No problem dialing it back up. Kyle LeGrere, a beautiful dish to Kalen King, and the talented football star, the catch-and-shoot long gun. Technicians out of the gate with a 7-0 lead. Douglas beat King in the semis to get here, responded with a 10-0 run to close out the first. Damon Diggs knocks it down from downtown. We were tied at 12 after the opening quarter. Cass Tech, led by the play of the Mr. PSL favorite, Tyson Acuff, committed to Duquesne, gets the pill from King, gets the bucket, and won. Technicians up 21-17. Remaining moments of the half. Cass Tech holding for the final shot. Acuff should also be a Mr. Basketball finalist. Tyson on the cookout. CT went into halftime leading 28-23. Technicians with momentum. In the paint. Pinball back to Isaiah Sanders, and the Notre Dame College commit finished in double figures with 12 points. Cass Tech up a commanding 17. Douglas in their first ever PSL title tilt. Hurricanes boast a 4-star D1 dynamo with Pierre Brooks Jr. imposing his will. He had a team-high 22. Canes trailed 46-30 into the final quarter. But the technicians were tacticians on this night as Acuff and the boys' strategy worked brilliantly. We call this angle the Jam Cam. Game high 32 for Tyson. Cass Tech takes down Douglas 66-41, and to quote Coach Steve Hall, heavy is the head that wears the crown. CT rising to the occasion yet again. Kings of the city for the second year in a row. Third time in the last 4 years. We stay in the city of Detroit for the final regular season game in the Catholic League Central Division. U of D Jesuit at home to take on the Pilots from Warren De La Salle. Jesuit in white looking to avenge a loss to the Pilots a few weeks back. 4-3 in the division, good for second place in conference. Good defense on one side of the floor leading to good offense on the other side. Sonny Wilson spots Charles Turner, the sophomore, drains the long ball. Cubs led 15-10 after the opening quarter. Jesuit continued to play scrappy D in the second, fighting for the loose ball, and it would be the talented freshman Wilson grabbing it, and that's nice. Pilots, a disappointing 2-5 in the division this season, but it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. 2 minutes ago before halftime, good ball movement, the freshman Tristan Nichols slashing to the hoop. De La Salle trailed by 100 centavos, that's just a penny, people, 21-20 at the break. And rivalry games never truly heat up until the chef comes out of the kitchen. Nick Trozak for the Pilots will find a cutting Jeff Jonage, who serves up the ham slamage, tied up at 29. But the Cubs would close out the quarter on a 10-2 run. The sophomore Phil Reagan buries a triple try. UND Jesuit led 39-31. Warren De La Salle on the comeback trail in the final quarter. Under a minute to go, Jonage stopping and popping. Pilots led 47-45. Could the Cubs even it up? Yes. Wilson drives and hits the runner. We were tied at 47 into overtime. Pilots down by 2 early in the extra session. Check out the junior Lyndon Holder, putting them on skates. Good from beyond the arc while falling down. But Jesuit ended the game on a 10-0 run. Second chance opportunities, the senior JT Morgan the putback. As U of D Jesuit goes on to beat Warren De La Salle 57-50, good momentum heading into this weekend's Catholic League playoffs. We go to the west side of the state. Grand Rapids Christian on the road to take on Wyoming. And who was on hand to witness this one? None other than Michigan head basketball coach Juwan Howard. The former Fab Fiver on hand to see one of the top juniors in the state, Kobe Buffkin. First half action, the step back bomb from the wing. Eagles led by 15 early. Wyoming's only loss of the season at the hands of Grand Rapids Christian 1 month ago. The senior Marion Parks calls for the screen. He gets it. Dribble penetration perfection. But the Wolves still found themselves down double digits at intermission. Now, if you've ever seen the state of Wyoming's license plate, it has a man on a bucking bronco. But Christian couldn't knock the Wolves off. Menelito McGee spots Parks in the deep corner. Count it. Wolves were within 2, 45-43 as we headed into the fourth. Move to the late stages. Grand Rapids Christian now trailing 60-57. Buffkin leads Cairo Rhodes to Pater. The finish and the foul. Rhodes trying to tie it up at the line. No! Somehow Evan May comes away with it, finds Jared Larry for the lay-in. Eagles take the lead 61-60. 6 seconds left. Wyoming with the inbound. Parks is fouled. Clearly the Eagles defender doesn't think so. He sunk the first at the line to tie. This one for the lead. Ice water running through those veins. Christian cannot advance the ball up court for a shot. Wyoming holds on in a thriller, 62-61 the final. That's high school basketball.
I'm Ryan Slocum. After winning 14 straight to start the season, Bridgeport looking to start a 2-gamer on Valentine's Day at a very festive Freeland. The Falcons hanging tough in the first. Joshua Elliott follows his own shot. He puts it back in, plus the foul. Still in the first, Elliott finds Braden Vassold all alone in the corner. He cans the triple. Freeland within 4 after 1. But the Bobcats turn up the heat in the second. Sean Tolbert picks off the pass and goes off the high glass for the deuce. Then off the miss, Jalen Hodges gets ahead of the pack. He throws it down to give Bridgeport a 20-point lead. The Cats keep their foot on the gas. Corey Wilson glides through the paint, throws it up with the left for 2 of his 10 points. The Falcons trying to get back in it. Tyler McLaren answers with a scoop of his own and 1, but they couldn't keep up with the Cats in the second half. Hodges hits for 3. Jalen then gets out on the break and rocks the rim again. He scored a game-high 22. And they were not slowing down. Great hustle by A.J. Pipkins. London Williams then takes it to the rack. He scored 13, helping Bridgeport knock off Freeland 84-39.
How you doing? My name is First Class Adams. Hey, what's up, Detroit? I'm Staff Sergeant Stevens. If you're within the age of 17 to 34, if you look for a job without any experience, we can teach you everything you need to know. Come be a part of the team.
And where you can locate us at is on goarmy.com/Michigan.
And our phone numbers is 586-774-0218 or 517-214-8542.
Go Army.
All right, TJ, let's discuss a little bit with what took place there. Wyoming sends a message that we can play with the big boys, right? The Wolves overcome a 14-point halftime deficit and win by a digit.
Hey, you know, when you have scorers like Menelito McGee, a guy who's hitting 5, 6, 7, 15 threes a game, you know, I mean, albeit a few more shots than or attempts than everybody else might have. You know, you can those leads can disappear in a heartbeat. And for Grand Rapids Christian to lose that game to Wyoming, I think it might be a boost, you know, to going into the playoffs, just to be like, hey, you know, hey, this is a reality. You know, any given game or any given day, you can wind up losing or winning. And with Wyoming winning, they definitely set the tone that they are for real. And hey, it's great for the west side of the state just to boost them up a little bit more. And now you get to talk about Wyoming, Grand Rapids Christian, Grand Rapids Catholic Central. I'm not going to put them up in the same tier as Benton Harbor, but it's great to have that much unity as well as far as winning.
So for those who don't follow it as close as you do, what was the whole mess with Cass Tech in the semifinals? Why were they told to forfeit, and then what changed that allowed them to play Thursday?
Unfortunately, I think it's just sloppy what happened. And going into that, Detroit Cass Tech did or didn't use an ineligible player, depending on who you talk to. Detroit Public Schools said that the player was ineligible. Detroit Public Schools, they go through everybody's roster to make sure that everybody is qualified for games. They go through quarters instead of semesters, and there's a player from Cass Tech, and whether one grade was one grade or it wasn't the other, Detroit Public Schools made the decision that he was eligible. Detroit Western, who wound up losing to Cass Tech in the quarterfinals last Saturday or 2 Saturdays ago, they were like, hey, you know, what happened here? You know, should we have won that game by forfeit? And then Detroit CMA kind of had the same gripe, and fully understanding the reasons why, because now they get to move on to the PSL playoffs or PSL championship. On the other hand, Cass Tech, hey, you know, this is a mistake, an honest mistake. It needs to be changed. This is what happened. I just think that it's weird that, let's say they knew on Saturday or Sunday or Monday. They definitely knew on Tuesday morning or Tuesday afternoon, because they charged $5 instead of the $10 that they were supposed to charge, and there was only for the one game instead of 2 games. Then they said, CMA, you've got to play on Wednesday versus Cass Tech at Cass Tech. Hey, we're not mentally ready to play. CMA, that's what they're saying.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, or fortunately, they wound up moving that game to East English Village on the far east side, and for Thursday's game, and Cass Tech wound up winning that game in decisive fashion. Yes. I just think that at the end of the day, just got to tighten up things, you know, just because when things get out in the public and you're looking at it and you're looking at a decision like this, when it comes down to eligibility, you know who's eligible and you know who's not eligible. I think that teachers, players, parents, coaches, they all need to be on the same, administration, they need to all be on the same page. And to be honest, I don't know if a player, unless his name was Tyson Acuff, would have made a difference. So I'm not sure why you would maybe play a player if he was ineligible. So I do kind of see it as maybe that the kid was eligible. And I know that obviously Steve Hall's been around for quite a while. He knows which players are eligible, which guys aren't ineligible. And I don't think that in good confidence that he would decide to play a player that was ineligible if he knew that they were ineligible.
Okay, so let's throw that aside. The decision was what it was. Let's talk about the kids on the court, the ones who were getting it done. It's tough to do it back-to-back nights, but both very impressive wins for Cass Tech, both versus CMA and Douglas.
True, and Douglas is no slouch at all. CMA is going to be one of the teams in the 2020-2021 season to really look forward to. Their stock with juniors. Derek Edwards does a great job over there. He's out of the coaching tree of Derek McDowell and Ken Flowers. Tyson Acuff, Cass Tech, Mr. PSL player, has been, and as I said before, has been nothing short of phenomenal. He is the real deal. Going to Duquesne, really found his groove and finished the game with 30-plus points, and it was pretty much unstoppable. And if you look at a kid that's 6'4", his skill level, his ability to get into the lane, and now his improved ability to shoot the ball, he might wind up being the top point guard prospect out of everybody that we have in this 2020 class, just because he's 6'4" with size and athleticism.
Boom. TJ will be back as his new rankings are up right now at StateChampsNetwork.com. We'll talk about the movement in our top 25 and preview the week ahead. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Laura Ramos with DMC Physical Therapy and Sports Medicine, and today on Game Changers, we're going to be talking about how to get fast by training your feet. So to become a faster athlete, train your feet. You're already training your legs and your core muscles. It only makes sense to train your feet because that's what's on the ground when you're running and jumping. We wear shoes all day, and that makes our feet weak and unbalanced. So doing these 4 exercises can help strengthen your feet and make you faster. Now, to begin with, these will be frustrating and difficult to do if you haven't done it before, but stick with it and do them every day. Start out by trying to lift your large toe or your big toe up, keeping your other 4 toes down. Do this exercise for a minute. Then try to keep your big toe down and lift up your other 4 toes all together. Do that for a minute. Next, try to spread your toes as wide as you can make them, and then bring them all the way back together. And do that for 1 to 2 minutes. Do these exercises every day, and you will become a faster athlete.
Do you have a sports injury, or are you just looking to take your game to the next level? Then go where the pros go. DMC Physical Therapy and Sports Medicine. For immediate care, call 313-910-9328 or visit dmc.org/gamechangers.
What's up, Puckhead? Sean and John here. Don't forget, you can check out Hockey Times. Every week, we are going to be talking about what's going on in the great state of Michigan at the high school level. So much good hockey being played, and we're going to do our best to cover it from all vantage points in the great state of Michigan. New episodes drop every Wednesday right around 3 o'clock.
Hey, State Champs Nation, Jenna Skalski here, and I'm here to tell you to check out the State Champs Michigan Winter Roundup premiering every Friday at 5 p.m. all winter long. The Roundup is where you can find highlights in girls basketball, boys swimming, competitive cheer, wrestling, bowling, and gymnastics. Presented by Lawrence Tech, check out the State Champs Michigan Winter Roundup premiering Fridays at 5 p.m. on the State Champs Sports Network and the State Champs app.
Time now for this week's Fast Break segment presented by BCAM, the Basketball Coaches Association of Michigan. We welcome in the Executive Director of BCAM, Dan Young, and our own Digital Managing Editor, Matt Mowry, for this week's show. Now, we are airing this segment on both Hangtime Michigan and the Winter Roundup because it pertains to both girls and boys basketball. In fact, we had a whole other topic we were going to do. We scrapped it. The girls basketball district pairings were announced recently, and let's just say it raised a few eyebrows, all right? We all knew there was going to be some semblance of seeding and that there was the new NPR or Michigan Power Rating into this. Coaches and fans aren't necessarily happy about it because in some cases, for example, a 1 seed playing 3 games in a district in some places. Matt, lay it out for us. Lay out what the issue is. Dan, you speak on behalf of BCAM and how you are working with the MHSAA on this, and then I will say what the MHSAA has said to coaches and others.
Well, I think what the primary issue they were trying to get away from was having the best matchups in districts come early in districts on either Monday or Wednesday. Ideally, they wanted the best matchups to come on Friday in the district finals when you have the most eyes on that game, which is laudable. I think also what the proponents of seeding wanted was some way to have those matchups come as late as possible in the tournament, and they wanted an overall seeding. That's not what we got. What we ended up with is a system where the number 1 and number 2 seeds in each individual district are identified by NPR, and those 2 are split apart, and then the rest ends up being a random draw alphabetically to fill out the district bracket. What the complaints were primarily were that those seeded teams were then exempt from getting byes in the first round. So you do, like you said, have them playing Monday and Wednesday and Friday. So you have more games as the number 1 seed, which intuitively seems a little backwards. Seems like the number 1 and 2 seed should get the byes. They do not. The other problem, obviously, was that the seeding did not continue throughout the district, and in some cases, a lot of them wanted that seeding throughout the tournament, and were disappointed that this seems to be a halfway measure.
Yes. Dan, you guys have been working on this for a long time, trying to coax the MHSAA into, a regional seating structure. I think that's ideally what we want to see here. What are your thoughts? Because I know that in some cases, BCAM is being kind of thought as the architect of this.
Well, we're in the middle of it. We want to be in the middle of it because we want to do what's best for the tournament and for the kids in the schools. But it's going to take some time. And basically, after this first year, we're going to take our notes, listen to our coaches, which we are, and go back to the basketball committees, and then go back to the rep council with our recommendations. So this was anticipated because it was not a fully seeded district or region like we've talked about, but it's a start, and that's a good thing because we're here talking about it. It's not perfect, we all know that, but it's going to get better, and we're going to work to make it better.
Okay, so here is what the MHSAA has said in response to the big hullabaloo that's out there right now. When our representative council passed this system, they had 2 goals. Number 1, identify the 2 best teams using a computer formula. And number 2, make sure those 2 teams are on opposite sides of the draw so they could not meet until the district finals. They weren't interested at the time in a true seeding system. The council did not want seeded teams to have the added benefit of automatic byes and home games. The council felt teams should get those only by random draw, just like in past years. Matt, you say what to that?
Well, and I think the response to that is that an incomplete system is not necessarily a better system. I think people are disappointed with the incompleteness, and there also are some questions about the formula, about whether or not it does actually identify. I think looking at NPR over the year, it has worked, but I think where it doesn't take into account is head-to-head results. It doesn't take into account, it doesn't weight wins or losses. Not all 10-win teams are created equal. And it doesn't do anything for smaller schools that schedule bigger schools. There's no weighting system to it. I think those are the biggest complaints.
It's a start towards future making it better.
Absolutely.
And so that's what we're behind. It's being positive that it is a start, and we're going to regroup, and we're going to put our heads together and put together proposals that we feel, the coaches feel, is the best way to do it.
Yep, and the MHSAA is open to that. They want to continue this discussion. Boys basketball district pairings are this weekend, so we were just giving you guys a heads up so you don't freak out. It's not a perfect system for sure. Dan Young and BCAM will continue to work with the MHSAA on making it better. There will be an evaluation once the season is over. We'll see how it goes, right? Stay tuned. Hey guys, Lauren Plant here, and if you are a high school student and into STEM, I want you to consider Lawrence Technological University. One example, the $17 million Topman complex is home to the Marburger STEM Center. This nearly 40,000 square foot 3-story structure links the existing science and engineering buildings. Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics has been part of Lawrence Technological University's DNA since the university was founded in 1932. The university's Marburger STEM Center supports LTU's offering of STEM leading education on campus and beyond. Get more info on the incredible Topman complex and how this addition on campus is leading the way in technology-based education. Visit LTU's academics website at ltu.edu/academics.
Asiago butter. Honey, look at this. 40,000 flavor combinations, and I've had almost every one. Asiago, butter, cheese, Cajun. The flavored crust combinations are endless. It's the greatest thing that ever happened.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
To get more pizza? Yeah.
No, to call your mother. Wow.
don't go. I need that equation.
Now get a meal deal to fit any budget at the home of flavored crust.
Hungry?
Howie!
I'm Greg Molson at Saginaw Heritage, where the Hawks were looking to turn out the lights on Mount Pleasant's perfect season. The Oilers coming in unbeaten at 14-0. It's the Hawks who come out flying, Evan Booker taking it all the way for 2. More Heritage in the half-court offense. Cade Beal finds a cutting Christian Dobis for 2 more. The Hawks led it by 4 after the first. The Oilers finally take their first lead in the final minute of the half. Joe Ostrowski hitting from way downtown for 3. Cade Beal answers with a nice drive for the Hawks, and it was all even at 23-all at the half. Jack Payton opens the second half with a triple for the Oilers, and it looked like they might pull away as Ostrowski follows with back-to-back threes. He led Mount Pleasant with 17 points. But the Hawks keep it close. Beal hits a 3 to cut the Mount Pleasant lead to just 2 at the end of the third. And Dobis opens the fourth with another triple, 3 of his 20 points, giving Heritage the lead. But the Oilers seniors know how to win in crunch time. Ostrowski drives and dishes to Tyler Huneman down low. Then it's Mason Watusik driving for 2 more. He scored 15. And Mount Pleasant pulls away late to win it 64-51, remaining unbeaten at 15-0. The Oilers will now have a week to get ready to play at Saginaw High next Friday with the Saginaw Valley League's North Division Championship on the line.
I'm Alex Sims from the Lansing area. Ray Mitchell and his Trojans hosted Jeff Watch's Okemos Chieftains, and they were looking for some payback in the CAAC Blue after falling in the first meeting of the year by 18 points. And at first, the Chiefs picked up right where they left off. Will Young drains the triple to put Okemos up by 4 at the half, but EL had other plans. Mason Woods at the top of the key, and he's like, "You want some of this?" I didn't think so. Drains a 3-ball of his own to give East Lansing a 1-point lead. Now 22 seconds left. EL's inbound pass gets tipped, and the ball finds its way into the hands of Grant Holzer, who takes it strong to the rack. Just like that, we're all tied up at 43. But have no fear. Marcus Warman is here with just seconds left on the clock and ice in his veins. Warman knocks down the game winner. What a finish. East Lansing wins by 2, 45-43. And now the Trojans are tied with Okemos for first place in the blue.
I'm Ryan Slocum. Saginaw High tried for its 13th straight win over crosstown rival Arthur Hill in front of Indiana Pacers rookie Brian Bowen, who was a member of the Lumberjacks when they last beat the Trojans. The Jacks couldn't have asked for a better start. Christian Smith, a beast on the block. He throws it down. The Trojans answer from the outside. Freddie McIntosh from Old Town Saginaw. And the bank is open on a Saturday. There may be no one in the state putting up points like Surreal Smith over the past few weeks, and he was a bucket again. The 6-footer can do a little bit of everything, including a left-handed putback jam. That is surreal. Trojans up 1, but Christian and the Jacks would match him. Smith with another jam of his own. They were tied at 30 at the break. Arthur Hill takes complete control in the third. Tim Jordan Jr. with the putback. He had 17 points and 11 boards. The Jacks go up 11. The Trojans start chipping away. Armand Goods in the corner to beat the third quarter buzzer. That cuts the lead to 7. The High continues to chip away in the fourth. The lead 3 with just under 2 to play. The long rebound comes out to Surreal, who pulls the trigger and ties it at 60 with 3 of his game-high 26 points. But the Trojans still could not figure out how to stop Smith. The sophomore had 25 points and 22 boards, and the streak is over. Arthur Hill beats the High for the first time since March 11th, 2015, 68-63.
I'm Chuck Pellerito, and we head to a good one at Stony Creek High School, where the Cougars hosted the Farmington Falcons in an OAA white matchup. We pick things up late stages of the second quarter. Cougars trailing by 6. Trevor Smith going to find Ethan Smirda working inside, and he'll get Stony within 4. Then, next possession, Smith racking up the assists here. He'll kick to the corner, and Jamie Jones going to knock down the triple try. Cougars went into the break only trailing by 3, 24-21. But the Falcons would start to pull away in the third. Tarek Humes with the dish to Rob Davis. He's good for the long ball. Then, Jaden Akins, been pretty quiet so far. He feigns the drive but gets the pass to Humes. Falcons get some padding up 40-35 after 3. And in the fourth, Akins will get his chance to shine. Good movement from the Falcons here as Humes get it back to Akins, and the triple try rings true. But Stony Creek would fight all 32 minutes of this one. Cougars would have to work through the full court press, but Marshall Emerson would find Smirda once again working in the paint. He'll get the backdoor lay-in, and Stony Creek would hold on to win this one by the slimmest of margins over Farmington, 54-53, your final score.
February is Black History Month, and this week, State Champs salutes Herman Boone. If the name doesn't ring a bell, maybe this will. The story of his struggle and triumph coaching a newly integrated football team in 1971 Virginia inspired one of the greatest sports movies of all time, Remember the Titans. A city where high school football was everything to the people of Alexandria, Academy Award-winning actor Denzel Washington portrayed Herman Boone, who was chosen to lead a team forced to integrate when the local school board chose to combine an all-black school with an all-white school. With the very football foundation and soul of the city at stake, Coach Boone and the former white head coach Bill Yost taught the young men to come together and overcome their differences. Improbable, and against all odds, the team won the state championship that year. A big social justice supporter long before he became the head coach at T.C. Williams High School, Herman marched with Martin Luther King in North Carolina. He was also a very successful football coach both before and after that magical year of 1971. One of his 3 daughters, Monica Merritt, is the superintendent of schools in the 5th largest district in Michigan, Plymouth-Canton. Having her father's story as part of a Disney film was surreal for the entire family.
They invited him on the set, and he's down on the ground, he's coaching, and they had to remind him a couple of times, these are actors, coach, because he's like, no, get that right. Perfection is always his benchmark, and for him it didn't matter if they were making a movie, but he wanted to make sure that's just who he is. Football really wasn't about winning the championship, but it was winning with a team and building young men, and the byproduct happened to be that championship. So
if we don't come together right now on this hollow ground, we too will be destroyed, just like they were. I don't care if you like each other or not, but you will respect each other.
I think the biggest lesson that he taught to us as his daughters was really about being humble and that we're no better than anyone else. And it was always about whenever you make it, he would make this saying, don't forget, if you go across the finish line, don't forget to take care of the horse that took you there. And so it was always important for him that you give back. He would say to us, if you didn't wake up this morning planning to make a difference in somebody's life, then carry your butt back to bed. That's just how he approached life. And people are still watching and talking about the movie and talking about the impact. I go into the store and somebody walks up to me and said, hey, aren't you the daughter of Coach Boone? You're superintendent of Plymouth-Canton? Yes. Let me tell you about how this movie has impacted me, people that have never met him. And so it really continues to live on.
In December of 2019, Herman Boone passed away at the age of 84. If you've never seen Remember the Titans, watch it. You'll never forget it. State Champs salutes Herman Boone. State Champs wants to congratulate the student athletes the Michigan High School Athletic Association selected to receive scholarships through the MHSAA Farm Bureau Insurance Scholar Athlete Award Program. 32 $1,000 college scholarships are being awarded to individuals who carry at least a 3.5 GPA and have earned a varsity letter in at least one sport. Other requirements for the applicants were to show active participation in other school and community activities and produce an essay on the importance of sportsmanship in educational athletics. Each of the scholarship recipients will be honored at a halftime ceremony at the Breslin Student Event Center in East Lansing during the boys basketball state finals. Congratulations, one and all.
It's time now for the MHSAA Basketball Clip of the Week, and it goes to Tyson Acall from Detroit Cass Tech High School. Here, capping off his 32-point performance in the PSL Championship game with the big slam as Cass Tech went on to beat Douglas. And that's your MHSAA Basketball Clip of the Week.
All right, as we wrap another show, TJ Kelly's new State Champs Top 25 boys basketball rankings are out. We call this rankings rationalization. All right, we've got a new number one team in the state.
Yep, Flint Beecher, the favorites in Division III. Their resume and the teams that they've beat are Orchard Lake St. Mary's, Flint Carman Ainsworth. They're going to win their 12th consecutive Genesee Area Conference title. Mike Williams is one of the top coaches, a future Hall of Famer, if I can go out there and say
absolutely.
That. You know, he just turned 40, so, you know, we don't want to get too kind of crazy, you know, but yeah, you know, Mike Williams, especially the players that he has, you know, everybody knows about Jalen Terry, everybody knows about Ernest Sanders, who's going to play football at Kentucky, but you got other players like a Carmelo Harris, you know, who's darn good in his own right. Ann Arbor Huron was number one. They wound up losing to rival Ann Arbor Skyline. I found out before the game that Julian Lewis was undercut in a previous game and will be out probably the rest of the season with a busted hand. So there's a big opening in Washtenaw County. Ypsilanti Lincoln is looking really strong to come out of that region now. And do they make it to the Breslin again? I think that I always thought that it was Ypsi Lincoln or Ann Arbor Huron that would make that run to the quarterfinals and then possibly
could see Skyline or Saline give them a scare. But yeah, we'll have to see what goes on. Other movement: we welcome Wyoming and Harperwood's Chandler Park to the party, both entering the rankings at number 22 and number 25 respectively.
Yeah, I really like Chandler Park just because they only a 2-loss team. They played a pretty competitive schedule. They're a tough team, and again, they're young. James Scott has done a great job over the last 4 or 5 years, and he's one of those coaches that we probably should have mentioned a couple episodes ago when we talked about the top young coaches that are in the state of Michigan. And then if you look over at Wyoming, hey, that's a big win, you know, coming up against Grand Rapids Christian, previously undefeated, and we'll see what they can do when the nitty-gritty starts in a couple of weeks in the playoffs.
Yeah, you've also got Grand Blanc back in the top 10 at number 7.
They went far to the west side of the state, beat Muskegon. Then they wound up winning a game that was resumed because of whatever happened at Flint versus Flint Carman Ainsworth. And again, Carman Ainsworth is a pretty strong team. Grand Blanc is healthy now too. I think the addition of Kevin David Rice is a huge addition for scoring off of the wing to go along with Nate Brown. You also have Ty Rogers, who is a phenomenal sophomore. RJ Taylor as a point guard. Mike Thomas has full confidence.
All right, let's give you the lineup on games we have planned to appear on Hangtime, Michigan next week. We will have the Charter School Conference finale. Big game Saturday between Benton Harbor and River Rouge. We'll show the MAC Conference of Love, feature both of their conference semifinal matchups. Hudsonville Unity and Zeeland West are going to get together this Friday for round 2. Frankenmuth travels to Flint Southwestern, for which is sure to be a good battle. We'll also show some UP Power as two of the best in the Upper Peninsula. Munising and Powers North Central will clash. We're also going to feature some Catholic League semifinal action. Any of those games get you fired up.
Let's start off with Benton Harbor traveling over to Rouge. Last year, this was a Division II battle. The year before, it was Division II battle. I think, in fact, probably the last 80 years, it would have been a Class B or a Division II title. And then Rouge moves up to Division I, and now all of a sudden they're playing Grand Rapids Catholic Central. They're playing Benton Harbor, a lot of teams that they would have seen. And wow, what a great matchup. You're talking about Mr. Basketball finalist to come over and Scooby Johnson and play at Rouge. I think that's going to help him with votes. Just be able to play in different parts of the state will help them out.
And Rouge, when they're in these games, these big, heavily hyped matchups, they always seem to perform at their best.
I mean, they played 100 games over the last 4 years. All the trips that they've made to the Breslin, they're used to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, again, that gives all the more credit to Hudsonville Unity Christian for what they were able to do and beat Rouge in the finals last year.
Yes.
You'll see them on the show this week as well. All right, no podcast this week, but of course, if you want to listen to any of the Hangtime Overtime podcasts, just search Hangtime on Linktree. Scott Bernstein will be back with us next week. Until then, we'll see you at tip-off.
State Champs Hangtime is presented by Lawrence Technological University, where Blue Devils dare. Also brought to you in part by Hungry Howie's, famous for flavor. The Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics. The U.S. Army, what's your warrior? The Basketball Coaches Association of Michigan, because better coaching always matters. And the Detroit Medical Center. Do you have a sports injury, or are you just looking to take your game to the next level? Go where the pros go. Visit dmc.org/gamechangers.